Next instruments are tendon harvesting and tendon retrievers, micro instruments by Dr. Ambarasan from Stanley Medical College, Chennai. He is a student of Dr. Radhakrishna and Dr. Bhupati.
Yeah, welcome, Dr. Amberson. We can see you. Good,
Good evening,
please go ahead.
Right, please. To start with the tendon harvesting instruments, a tendon retriever. This is a Bakranko tendon retriever. So it's basically used to retrieve the tendon through narrow closed tunnel. So it consists of a shank and a ring handle at one end with the ratchet and two hinges and the toothed jaws, the serrated jaws. So this bi-hinged arrangement is the specific features of this instrument. So it's called double function tendon retriever. It can be used both to create a tunnel as well as to retrieve the tunnel. Mostly used in tendon transfer procedures to make a subcutaneous tunnel across the hand where the skin will be adherent to the palmaris fascia to retrieve the tendon distally to the attachment site. Next slide, please. Next will be the Carroll tendon retriever, where it is used to retrieve tendon across a curved tunnel, and the axis will be curved. So it has a curved shank with the jaws at the end, but it doesn't have a ratchet. So it can be used to retrieve tendon across the hand along the curvature of the hand, also the curvature of the finger in tendon transfer procedure. Next will be the tendon tunnelers. The classical Anderson tendon tunneler and the Barnes tendon tunneler. They can also be used to retrieve the tendon since they have a serrated jaws at the end, and they are long in length when compared to the retrievers, and they don't have a ratchet mechanism. So they make a subcutaneous tunnel to retrieve the donor tendon. Next slide. Next comes the tendon stripper. Barnes tendon stripper, classically used to retrieve, to harvest the plantaris tendon, and also there are other strippers to harvest tendons like palmaris longus and ADL leg. So the parts will be the handle with a vertical long stem and hollow loop at one end. So to harvest the tendon, like say plantaris tendon, you have to make an incision at the distal end of the tendon, plantaris tendon. Identify the plantaris tendon from the tendinoculus. So we divide it distally, pull it through the incision, pass through the loop, and hold it with the arterial forceps, and pass the instrument proximally, push the instrument proximally by maintaining the tension by putting the leg in dorsiflexion of the foot and extension of knee. So once it reaches adequate distance, it will make a rocking movement so that the distal end of the loop will core out the tendon from the musculotendinous junction. Next slide. Next comes the fascial lata stripper. It is used to harvest the fascial lata, narrow band of fascial lata used for tendon reconstruction. So it consists of a rectangular frame with the opening at one end and a ring handle at the other end, which can be used as a piston. So that moves a vertical blade which will cut then fascia at the other end. So next slide, please. So to harvest the next slide, please. Next slide, please. To harvest fascial lata, we make an incision over the lateral aspect of thigh at the lower middle junction and identify the fascial lata. Make a rectangular flap. Next slide, please.
I think we can stop here. We can stop here.
Hello.
So very well illustrated, Dr. Amberson.
Yes, sir.
Actually, these are, as the name implies, most of these are tendon retrievers.
Yes, sir.
To be used during tendon transfer surgeries. So you won't be asked too much
Yes,
of
sir.
detail about these. You will be asked
Yes,
the
sir.
procedures. It can go on to the foot drop tendon transfer procedure, or
Okay, sir.
radial nerve, ulnar nerve tendon transfer procedures, or
Yes, sir.
since you have shown the
Yes, sir.
palmaris longus harvester or plantaris harvester, then somebody
Okay.
might ask you in what percentage of the patients palmaris longus is absent and in what percent plantaris is absent. Is there any relation between the two? And when would you use a fascial lata sling instead of a tendon graft? So this is the way the Viva is going to go, rather
Yes, sir.
than the details about
Yes.
the instrument. You very well illustrated everything. The diagrams are self-explanatory. I think most of us will be able
Yes, sir.
to handle this particular set of instruments.
Yes, sir.
So I request you to move to the next set of instruments, which is very important and we need to discuss. That are the microvascular instruments. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Coming to microvascular instrument, first will be the Dweller's microforceps. So Dweller's microforceps are used to hold the vessel wall, nerve, and also the suture needle. So it consists of a head and a narrow, flat leg, which ends in the pointed jaws. So they are either made of stainless steel or titanium. They can be either straight or angulated. So the ideal length will be around 11 centimeter, and the tip should be minimum 1 to 3 millimeter. They have to be held with a non-dominant hand. Next slide. Next slide, please. So vessel dilator, these are actually modified Dweller's forceps. Only thing is they have a slender jaw with a smoother tip so as to prevent injury to the intima. So we have to introduce the vessel dilator with the closed jaw into the lumen and dilate it as around one and a half times the original size of original diameter of the vessel, and keep it maintain for 1 second, and retrieve the vessel dilator with the closed jaw. So they can also be used to give counter pressure while taking suture bite. So ideal length will be 11 centimeter, and the tip should be 8 to 9 millimeter apart. Coming to micro scissors, Castor micro scissors. Here the micro scissors has a handle, shank, and sharp blades. So the shanks are spring loaded, so the blades will be open at rest. Depending upon the blade, they can be either straight micro scissors or curved micro scissors. Straight micro scissors have a sharp tip, so they will be usually used only to do adventitiectomy and cut sutures of size 80 or a smaller one. So when doing adventitiectomy, they have to be held parallel to the vessel wall. And since they use only for fine trimming of the tissues, high magnification has to be used. Next slide, please. And the curved micro scissors, these are used only for dissection. So they have a slightly rounded tip so as to prevent injury to both the vessel wall and the surrounding structures. Ideally, it should have a length of 15 centimeter. Next slide, please. Castor needle holder. They have a jaws, shank, and occasionally might have a lock. They either curved or straight. Measure, usually the ideal length will be 15 centimeters. Next slide, please.
So just stopping you in between. Could you go to the previous slide?
Yes.
So you have seen the handle is round in this particular instrument. The handle. Why is it round?
Sir, either can have a round handle or flat.
No, it cannot be both. No, it cannot be both in microvascular surgery.
A round handle, yes, sir. We have to rotate it frequently so that the round handle will be of more advantages.
Why?
Sir?
Because while doing microsurgery, your wrist and hand
yes,
are stable. They are not moving. You're only doing rolling movement between the thumb and the fingers. Okay. So that is why the round handle is preferred. The straight handle, you won't get that maneuverability. And I request guide all of the residents to have the Eklund manual and read in detail about those whatever practical tips are given. And after the cleft palate and the grafting handle, these are the instruments which examiner can go into real detail. And I think the photograph which you are showing is a lockable handle, which is not a microvascular surgery instrument. We don't use lockable handle needle holders. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And the next question which can be asked, could you go back to your previous slide?
Previous slide, sir.
Okay. Again, you have shown both the round as well as the flat varieties. For the operating surgeon, it is best to have round handle ones. Whether they are
round handle, sir.
Okay. Other will not give that much of maneuverability. Fine. Yeah. Please carry on.
The final will be the microvascular clamps. These are devised by Robert D. Ackland. So
I
they either single clamp or double clamp.
Yeah. We can stop here. So you are seeing these microvascular clamps. So what is this B written over there?
V refers to the venous clamp, sir. The venous clamp, vein clamp can be used both for occluding both artery and veins, whereas arterial clamp designated as A. They can use only for occluding artery.
As A. No.
Sir?
Basically, you should understand
Sorry, sir.
the basic nature of these clamps. A will have a
Yes,
turn
sir.
down tip. It is to be used for the
Yes, sir.
vessels which are
Not,
likely to slip,
yes,
which are usually the arteries, but we can be used both
yes,
for
sir.
veins and arteries. Okay. So
Yes,
what
sir.
is B1,
Yes, sir.
B3? What does that mean?
The size varies, sir, depending upon the diameter of the vessel.
Mhm.
The we designate as 1A, 1A, 1B, or 2A, 2B is clamps, sir.
Okay. So what are these four
Can
lines
some next slide, next.
which you can see on the tip? There are four lines, no, where
Uh,
SNT is written.
yes, yes, sir.
What are these lines?
Uh, the vessel should be placed within these lines
Yeah. Okay.
so that.
These are the reference lines for each size of the vessel. So it has to minimum has to be the central two. The largest vessel which can be held is the outer two. Okay. These are visual guides
Yes,
for the surgeon, so that rather than going into the actual measuring of the size, he or she can hold the vessel, use the appropriate clamp. Okay.
yes, sir.
So another question which is commonly asked is what is the pressure these clamps will exert on the vessel wall?
So the maximum pressure should not exceed more than 30 gram per millimeter cube, sir. RTL clamp exert more pressure around 20 to 25 millimeter per gram,
No,
25
that is
gram per
again too
millimeter
much.
cube.
That may be a theoretical question, but ideally the pressure per square millimeter is 5 to 10 gram for large vessels and up to 15 to 20 gram for small vessels. Okay, not beyond
Yes,
that, because any vessel will
yes,
not tolerate that ischemia for long, will cause intimal damage in case it is kept higher
yes.
pressure is kept for, or you choose a wrong clamp. So size is important, and technically the pressure also is important. And what will happen in case you apply a lighter clamp on the vessel? Maybe
The
which
vessel might tend to slip, sir.
no, you will have continuous bleeding. You don't want blood in
Yes,
the
yes,
field. Okay.
yes,
So usually this guide is these clamps will take care of up to 200 millimeter of mercury of the pressure. Okay. So the ideal choice of the clamp is necessary. So for all practical purposes, we can use the maybe the B3 clamps for most of our surgeries. Like ALT will have a diameter of around 1.8 to 2.2 millimeter, and think the B3 clamp is the most commonly used. And in case of some larger vessels, we might use a HD or RD clamps. And A and V should not be confused with artery and veins. V clamps can be used both for arteries as well as the veins. A is called as a A
yes.
clamp because the tip is bent down to avoid slippage,
Okay.
which is to be used in larger, more thicker vessels. Okay,
Yes.
fine. And another question, let's go back to the instrument, the needle holder. Again, this is not the ideal photograph for this, but why they are spring loaded? You see,
Sir,
in the
why
normal
the
needle
spring
hold,
load?
spring loaded, no? You
Yes,
have
sir.
to hold the needle, you have to compress it. Why should it be spring loaded?
Yes, sir.
Why don't they are like the normal needle holders which we use to for skin suturing?
Closed.
Yeah.
That's closed.
Yeah. So why are they spring loaded?
Same thing.
So the
Gets it. You are using with
to
fingers. You are
uh,
using with fingers.
What happens in case? What is the commonest mistake which a resident will do while doing microvascular anastomosis? It is he will hold on to the needle for a bit too
hold
long,
the art.
and then the needle,
Okay.
the thread will break. Okay, because he won't come to know. So that is why they are to be pressed only when you are holding the needle. Otherwise, automatically it will release the needle. Fine. So that is why, and also it leads to less fatigue while operating. Carry on, please. After the clamps.
Next slides, please. So depending upon the size, diameter of the vessels, we have a different clamp. So
Yeah, I
0.4
think
to
we
1
have already
millimeter
discussed it. What we are seeing is a double clamp, which is also
double
known
clamp
as approximating clamp.
is
Why would you
approximation.
use the approximating clamp? Would you prefer
When
approximating
we,
clamp or the other clamp?
for anastomosis, we prefer approximating clamp, sir.
Why is
For
that?
single clamp, we only for preparing the vessel. Approximation, we have to bring both the vessel to closer to start anastomosis.
Okay, that will aid in anastomosis. Otherwise, vessel will keep on moving with your suture. That's fine.
Yes.
And I see a double clamp or approximating clamp with a the wire-like enclosure. What is that?
Frame, they can have a frame or even have a suture holder.
So when would you use these sort of framed clamps?
You know, frame clamp.
These are usually used in lab settings. Like when you are alone, you don't have an assistant to orient the vessel in a particular direction. You will use these the framed ones. Okay. So these are usually not used in regular microsurgery. Okay. Fine. Okay. You have mentioned all the. This is a complete
This is the
description
last
you have
slide, sir.
given. Yeah. Great.
Yes.
Next slide.
That's the last slide, sir.
Okay. So how much adventitia should you dissect before anastomosing, and why should you dissect adventitia?
Around 3 to 4 millimeters.
What will
Because
happen in case
adventitia,
you don't dissect the adventitia?
adventitia is basically thrombogenic, sir.
Mm-hmm.
So it has thrombus after anastomosis is done.
Okay. I think this is the length which examiner will go, and he might also ask you the step of the microvascular anastomosis, end to end, end to side. What is the trifurcation technique, and which in case the where will you suture first, anterior wall or posterior wall? What is a continuous suture? What is an interrupted suture? And these are the things. And sometimes you go too much into technical details. Examiner also might ask you, would you do the anastomosis under microscope or a loop? You should know which is preferable. Obviously, microscope is preferable. And just to see your level of involvement in a hospital, he might even ask you what is the model of the microscope you are using. Just wants to check how aware you are. Okay. Dr. Ravi, in case you want to ask or add to any further questions, there is no limit to
But
it, but any
these are
important thing I
the
have missed.
yeah, these are the standard way they we ask usually in the exam. Also, sometimes examiner can ask you the anticoagulant protocols which you might be seeing it or doing it, whether you will use heparin or not, whether you will use Lomodex or not. These are some controversial topics, but examiner definitely may ask you, and what is your understanding about the anticoagulation protocol, and post-operatively and pre-operatively, do you keep the hemoglobin low? Why you keep the low? And then post-operatively, if you want to give blood or not, whether you give it or not. So it means the technical part is asked when the equipment is discussed, but when the procedure is discussed, anything can be asked from pre-operative preparation, intraoperatively, and then post-operatively. How you will monitor this patient? What are the methods of monitoring flap? And how early you can detect? What are the chemical markers? So these are the theoretical questions, but possible are there. I think this much is enough.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, just I wanted to add that since all residents are here, recently there was a meta-analysis of all these parameters in, I think, Journal of Microsurgery towards the end of 2019. You can go through that. That will address all the problems, whether you should Lomodex or aspirin or heparin. So there was a meta-analysis which was published towards the end of 2019. I don't know exactly, but I think you will search and you will find out. Okay. That addresses all these issues in microvascular
And new
anastomosis.
article also, I think, came in PRS only with other issues like blood should be given. We should must correct it, because if you don't give blood, you are keeping the oxygen level low, healing is low. So, I mean, these are the things you must read latest. What are the guidelines going on? So that examiner wants to know that conventionally what you have been hearing, and now are you flexible enough to change your protocol or not? That's all.
Great.